What's going on, Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Guys, welcome to the big game. Let's dig into the stock market and what's happening, and then my watch list for later. And let's dive in and see if this DeepSEEK AI news is going to impact the semiconductor market. For those of you guys that are not familiar, the Chinese have put out basically a ChatGPT competitor that is open source, and it is zesty. It's fantastic. It is number one on the App Store right now. And so we need to also dig in to see if this impacts the semiconductor market, right? Like, stocks like NVIDIA and all this stuff that have been running based on the ChatGPT. So, well, first thing is first, the DeepSEEK is also, it's come out number one in the App Store, but we do have to kind of, because it's open source and cheap, there's been a lot of buzz on it on the Twitter. Now, look, in general, since I've been trading, the Chinese have always had some new hot technology that never turns out to be anything. They typically steal almost all our stuff. They have Westerners run their factories and all of this kind of stuff, and they usually just steal our stuff, for the most part. So if this is true, then, maybe it would be out of the norm for them. But I think it's something that, we should be keeping an eye out on, right? We need to keep an eye out on and see if it impacts. And you did see on Friday, like, you saw some action, right? Like, you saw NVIDIA roll over $8, right? Like ARM also has been rolling over, and so there has been some level of pain on Friday because of this news already. And obviously NVIDIA was maybe a little bit overbought too, but we need to see if maybe there's some downside follow through on this, and we'll dig into that. But first, let's just go back in, see what's up with the QQQs. We had a little bit of a rest day on Friday. Was it some big nasty down day? No, like we're still kind of holding here right into this range. And, if we pull back, then, of course we got a little bit of a gap fill, but it's still a bullish setup, right? Like it's still a bullish setup. We don't have anything that I would say is like some big red flag. We just had a very overbought market from, the lower Bollinger Band to basically the top. And so we went sideways for a few days, and we're still inside the range here. And we've got a lot of support kind of in this zone, along with the 9 EMA and stuff like that. So, we may pull back even tomorrow, but that doesn't really change the structure of this. If you see here, right, we've started to open up into the bone zone. So, right, we had this green shading, this trend for a long time, and then we evened out for a little bit, but it's starting to reverse back into the green. And so the short-term trend, intermediate-term trends are higher now, and that's something to be, that's something to respect. And we're really right back from all-time highs. My guess is that Friday was a mixture of just an overbought and then Friday being Fridays. You could see the SPY itself was really extended. You came down from 575 all the way to 610, right into resistance. And look how far you were from the 9 EMA. Like, you have this huge extension, this huge overboughtness. Even after a down day on Friday, you're still at a 91 stochastics. And so, we're overbought. Like, we're overbought. And so we can back and fill some of this area and kind of build out a little bit of a handle. And I think that it's still going to be pretty bullish. So we'll be mindful of all these things. I think there's a couple things that we need to really, focus on for tomorrow. Is number one, if this DeepSEEK hey man, if this DeepSEEK news is something, then, we may want to long some Chinese names that have been involved in AI or that are just tech companies, right? All stocks are involved in AI now, even in the US, right? Like if you're a small business, you're doing AI bots and all sorts of shit too, right? So everything's in AI. But I think we want to keep an eye on, right? Old Baba here, we remounted the 50-day moving average and we took out this range here. It's got a nice look to it, big trend on it. I think we keep that on the watch list. We got PDD here also, right? Big stick on big stick on Friday, and you're starting to kind of break through some kind of multi-month bases over here that I think they've got a chance. And you can see here the intraday range is fantastic. So that's also going to be, really important. Beyond that, and let me go to these daily charts. It'll be easier to see versus just the daily and intraday. If you got Baidu, Baidu's, kind of your Google competitor. These guys have been putting out AI news forever. And this thing, has been a big gelatinous piece of excrement for quite some time. But you're right back down on that kind of multi-year support here. Let's go in. So now look, I added these Chinese names, but through China stocks, they never close, right? They never follow through. It's that ultimate tease. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's like you get excited about them, and then it's like poof, the rug goes, right? And you're like, shit. So just day trade them for now, but keep an eye on all these kind of things like Billy. I think the best Chinese stock is this KC, frankly. You have a big multi-year range break over here. And it's a little bit sloppy because, these stocks move mostly on gaps. But you can kind of see here what's been happening, right? Big trend. I think it may need to kind of back and fill some of this area here, where, you may come back up and then pull back and then kind of take that out. But that's natural after something's up, 400, 500%. But keep an eye on this bad boy. And then, even a stock like SC, which is not necessarily a Chinese name, but it moves with also has like a good look to it. So let me see if I can find that name right here. Right, you got a nice breakout here. This to me looks like a little bit of a swing trade setup. I don't like swing trading these Asian names just because of the gaps, but you have a little bit of volume accumulation and all this kind of stuff. Beyond that, let's see here. I like this app here. We've got a kind of 3-day break here at 372 that we can, kind of use. It may need to back and fill for 1 day here, but you've got a spot here. Overall, after that kind of big multi-100% move, right, you've condensed this thing and you're coalescing into it. And I think that's got just a good look to it. Not surprised if this thing runs into the 400 spot. Oklo, big stick. It's up 100% basically last few days. Not that means anything in this kind of market, but if this gaps up tomorrow, you get 45, 50. We got to take this thing down for a day trade, right? Maybe for a couple days. Dude, this thing is, was $2, right? Or $5 just a little bit ago. Awesome, awesome stock, awesome trader. But for tomorrow, let's see what we got going on. NNE, another just awesome looking chart. Big turd of a company, but who cares, right? In this market. But this is also up, right? 100% plus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're starting to speed up, right? You're starting to speed up. We've had 2 days of wicks here, right? Wick. So there's a slight bit of exhaustion already in this name. If this thing gaps up again, and say it busts past these 2 wicks, I'll start looking intraday to see if it fizzles out. And right, usually it'd be nice if it kind of gaps up, runs into late morning, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and then you start to kind of fizzle out into this intraday. I think that would be a really nice look. Twilio, I want you to keep an eye on this Twilio. They had an earnings breakout. Last time, look, this was the earnings over here, and it just continued for weeks and weeks up the 9 EMA. So I'd love to find a way to get long on this thing for day trade and swing trade. You can't swing trade it yet till back and fills, but at least some sideways consolidation. But for day trades, I think so. And then if you look here on a longer term basis, right after that run to 500 or so, right, you had this big. This is the pattern that's been working really all of 2024 and, so on and so forth, right? It's just the big hockey stick or, right, it's like that baby's arm, right? The little muscle going, just that flexing of the bicep is right there, right? You got the curls for the girls. These are the wrists. You're curling. That's looking nice right there. You got curls for the girls coming up on this thing. There's a good look to it. Beyond that, look, I got Netflix on watch here. Earnings breakout, inside day, 2 inside days. My thinking is this. If it can, let me get to an intraday chart here. If it can take out this kind of 2 days worth of range here, then it attacks up here. So it attacks the 1,000. So I want it to first, if we can come out in here, take out this 984, we're coming into 1,000. If we take 1,000, then, maybe we add another 20, 30, 40 points. And before it's got to kind of do what it has to do. But for a day trade, when you get an earnings play and then you get inside day, a double, that's nice. Now look, if NVIDIA gaps up tomorrow, gap this up, I think we fade this thing on the DeepSeek news. Fucking DeepSeek news. And we'll take this thing down. Maybe we even short a little AMD or something like that. But I think this is the one most likely. I'll wake up early. We may have to even do this thing in the pre-market and get this thing going. If you look here, we got Google here. A nice looking breakout. It's a slower stock, so you're going to have to do calls on it. But whatever, right? You can go in. Get the 205s or something like that. They'll be pretty cheap. I got AMD on watch, right? Gap this thing up. I'm looking to fade this thing along with NVIDIA. If the setup shows. So I'll watch this action in the pre-market and then we'll see what's going on. Hey, beyond that, there's a lot of good-looking stocks here, but I think they need some breathers. This BE's been a nice kind of stock. I'm in this for a swing trade, but it's got an awesome look on it. If you look here, right, you're breaking out, years worth of levels. But I think that it needs probably a little bit of a break. MBIS, same thing, right? Probably the two hot stocks of the year. But this is also, more of a swing grinder. Watch and see if it pulls back here. You may get some secondary entries. It's okay to day trade too, but it feels like a little bit of a grinder that you just kind of swing and, rip for 10 points or so. Guys, let me know if you have any questions. This whole market's hot, so, you can throw darts at stuff like, you see something like this iron and, if cryptos go, then this can go and, so on and so forth. We'll keep an eye and we'll see what's up. Bitcoin's just at 102 right now. It dropped a few thousand points today, but I wouldn't read too much into it. It likes to just break down and just kind of rip back. So, guys, I love you guys. Let's go do what we do. Peace.